As we've been hearing, children have always played a big part in the Ottawa Tourist Center community. We were talking in Shul the other day about Dina's original bat mitzvah class, and four names came to mind, and I just feel like mentioning them because it's an interesting progress, I guess, in where we've come. Among Dina's first bat mitzvah students were Jenny Stewart, daughter of Clemmy and Mimi, who's here. And Jenny now is a university graduate. She's a teacher. Anna Frankel, daughter of Yuri and Irina, is in university. She is right now in Israel for a semester. Sarah Adonik, daughter of Barry and Ethlin, is on to university. My own daughter Laura is out east at Mount Allison University. And what's interesting is they all have a very strong attachment to the Ottawa Tourist Center, and that's the most important thing. It's also a great example of how an OTC education is a good investment. To further that point, our next speaker is a young man. Come up here a second, Noah. I like this kid. Noah Horowitz. Noah's almost 14 years old. He had his bar mitzvah here about a year ago. Noah is in second year at Harvard. At Sir Robert Gordon grade 9, he is the son that he wanted me to mention. He's the son of Kim and Svi, the younger brother of Avery. Svi was one of the first millionaires at the Bloom's first basement show on Flanders. As a toddler, Noah would crawl around the floor during services. Interestingly enough, during Simchat Torah, after a few appliances, he was joined by many of the men in the congregation at that time. So like his biblical namesake, he was a leader of men. He himself, as I said, is a graduate of Chabad Middle School. He's very articulate, very bright young man with a good sense of humor. I have to tell this story in Shul. Saturday morning, Rabbi Bloom was doing his Gemara Torah by the Kiddush, as he likes to say. And I'm sorry to say this, but Noah's father, Tzvi, was snoring quite loudly. So the rabbi looked and saw Tzvi and said, Noah, can you give your father a little touch? Just disturbing me. So Noah, ever the dedicated, loyal son, looked at his father. He said, Rabbi, you put him to sleep, you wake him up. All over.
Shalom, everyone. I feel so honored to be here with all of you today to celebrate such a joyous and momentous occasion. My connection with the OTC Synagogue and Community Center began about a decade ago when I was a toddler, barely able to walk. While the adults were engaged in some serious praying in the small prayer room, I, along with other children, received our first induction to Judaism through fun games by caring staff under the leadership of Mrs. Bloom. As I matured and began attending the Sunday Hebrew School programs, I learned how beautiful our heritage is. This was accomplished in part through learning about the meanings of our various holidays. I was overwhelmed by the warm welcome and the devotion of the teachers. Equally important was the sense of camaraderie fostered by our educators. Several times during the year, we were assigned roles for our various holiday performances for parents and guests. It is thanks to Director Dina Bloom and her teaching staff that I also acquired such a strong sense of confidence. In the past 4 years, I have been attending Shabbat prayer service on a regular basis. The idea of sitting next to my dad and the experience of praying in unison with him and the rest of the congregation is particularly uplifting. You get to feel that you are part of something that is greater than yourself. The total is never the same without you, but you are never the same without the total. And whereas before I used to come to shul to please my Father, now I come to pray as I feel I am getting closer and closer to the community of believers, and more importantly, developing a greater closeness to God Almighty. I now know what OTC really means to me. And finally, it is without exaggeration that I say this. Thanks to Rabbi Bloom and Dina Bloom, in no small measure, they have contributed to my inner personal development. Rabbi Bloom, you often mention that every Jew is born with an inner spark. Well, you and Rebbitzin Bloom have greatly amplified this inner spark. Saying thank you doesn't adequately describe my appreciation, but in the absence of not knowing how else to thank you, I say once again, merci beaucoup, toda raba.